y'all are awesome. Like, I would not be who I am without you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
What happens if I do this?
And at the bottom of the chat, that is at that's Miss Rainey. I'm not drinking anymore. I appreciate you, Mr. Mike Rafferty. If I could hit this damn hard, it would help. Yeah, I hope you guys drop over and check out.
Who's here? I don't know. I'm watching one live here, one live here. Why is everyone doing the thing? You like crime stories? I do, Total. I do.
But please check out at That's Miss Rainey. I will be in the chat stream with you guys.
Hello, Chester.
If you guys want to talk to me, if you guys hear some good crime stories, I know she's got.
There are kids. There's a kid on live I've been watching.
So
he's been kidnapped.
All the
baloney. I'm like, let me raise this up a little bit. Love crime stories, right?
It really excites me because do you cry at night?
Elliot, Elliot Eastman. I'm gonna write it down. Where are you finding Elliot? Hello, Slinky. Now, let me ask you this, Total. Do you think they're doing it for the likes? Is the question. Hello, Jake, how are you?
Ones that are near you. I love you guys, and I will talk to you on the next live stream.
He would go live on YouTube. So, he's on YouTube. Like, is he on YouTube currently? Hello, Mike. Hi. Hello, Larry. In the Philippines. I'm so confused. And the reason why I ask for legitimacy with that is I've heard of people conspiracies about there was this one girl, she was a really famous YouTuber who would eat on camera, and she would look like behind the camera or at the people around her. She would look at it, and people were really strange about it. Guys, I need my chapstick. I don't know where I put it, and the weather is making me very upset. The weather is upsetting. I don't like where this is at. I don't like how my setup is. I wasn't ready. Oh, see, Chaos is like, hey, I need to go outside to find my dad. Guys, hold on, I'm gonna, come on, let's go. I gotta look for my chapstick. Hold, please. Guys, he's been drinking. I know you all know this, but he's definitely been drinking. About this much. Hello, friends. Hi. How is everybody doing? And I can always tell when, I hate messages. Why do people message me when I'm on a live? You know I'm on live, so now's the time to talk to me. That's how I see things. I'm doing well. How are you? Look at all these people. Well, hello, friends. If you go to his lives, that's when you'll see me talking to him where he's worried about getting kidnapped. Total, I'm going to look into that. Is that his actual handle? Or will I find it? Okay. My light is deciding to turn brighter. Apparently, I need bright light in my life. Absolutely, Carolyn, it's my pleasure. Fools told me to come and say hello. Well, hello. Hi, how are you? Okay, I will absolutely do that. I need lower light in here. Messes with the bags under my eyes. Probably a little low on this too. Looks like I'm hearing weird noises. Well, I found some crime stories to talk about today. Yeah, I will look into it. Martin, hello, hi. Who did I miss? Because I was trying to find my chapstick. Did I miss anyone? No. What are you doing? Oh, no, 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 no.
What?
She's not, no.
She's fine.
She doesn't do well in here.
Huh?
She doesn't do well in here.
She'll be fine. I'm here. Come on. Come on. Oh, you.
Who's the stranger in my house? I know. I'm not sure.
Come here. Come here. Stop. Continue.
Oh, I was fine. I give it a few minutes to let people come in here because not everyone is from your stuff. But
You stop.
Yep. So, everybody say hi, fools. What the F, Mike? How are you? Sassy. Well, hello, Miss Sassy.
Ooh.
Are you okay?
I have a...
Well, because if you're going to make sounds over there, you're going to get...
I have a knot in the bottom of my foot and everything's fine.
Okay, but if you're going to be loud over there, I'm going to have to ask you politely to leave.
You just want me to leave. That's me.
I get sidetracked when I'm trying to read and there's other noises
I'll be quiet.
going on.
I have a puppy.
Okay, guys, how are you? Hi, fools, go to bed.
Yes, sir.
He just told me to quit unplugging the mic. I'm going to show you something. Let me just show you. So, I just want to share with the group. This is that mic. See how this is on? See how it is off. It is on, it is off. Now, when you're in there by yourself and you are trying to do your own thing, I simply unplugged. See? See how there's a plug right there? I simply unplugged it and twisted it out of my way. So it was not making a light do light things. And I got reamed for it. Reamed for that. For unplugging, disconnecting the power to the mic, I was the wrong one. I didn't change all the settings. I did not. Okay. Please don't. I didn't change any settings. I didn't do anything. And all I did was simply unplug it. That's what I did. But I will work on not unplugging the things in my office. Thank you. Okay, we're at 10 minutes in, so we're gonna start, my friends. As you all know, and if you're new here, welcome to this fancy place I call my office. I do work in here, and we talk about crime. So, APness in school. So, just a trigger warning because these are true crime current events. So these are stories that I have found that are going on currently. Most of these are in the US. There is a bigger story that someone has recommended that I cover. And so I did find an article on a major source, and I will do that one last. That's usually how this works out, is I'll do all these little small stories. Most of these stories, I have not read them. We are reading them for the first time together. So I am not prepared for the things that I read. I am not prepared for the things that, how my brain operates and what happens. The only thing that catches my attention is the title of what it is that I'm going to read. So I typically like to set it up so that way I can just go. I like organization in my life. So I will start, but there is a trigger warning before we start. So the things we're going to talk about is unaliving. There's going to be potentially SA. There's going to be APE, potential child abuse, child neglect, and the other things that go with children that we hate to hear about. And I hate to talk about those stories, but at the same time, unfortunately, it goes on in our world. And I think it's important that we talk about those things because I think it's either because of the whole thing that's going on in Hollywood right now in the music industry, I think it's coming more to the forefront. We've always known it's been there, but I've always been a child advocate, and you're sending messages, my love.
Can I not talk to my mother?
You're sending messages, my love. I'm also in that chat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shit, dude. Anyhow, some people have an attitude right now, but you know, it's fine. I hope the rest of you are doing okay. So, all right, guys, the first one that I'm going to discuss with you is, the title reads, Man Wakes Up from Surgery After Stabbing Wife at Hospital. Oh my gosh. And says he also unalived his mother. All right, so a California man unalived his mother at a home and then went to a hospital where he stabbed his wife before turning the knife on himself. Vallejo police said in a press release that its officers responded around 8:43 a.m. Saturday to the hospital for a stabbing. When they arrived, medical personnel were treating two people, a man later identified as 63-year-old Frank James McMullen and his wife, both suffering from stab wounds. Cops determined McMullen stabbed his wife at least once and then stabbed himself. Doctors immediately performed surgery on both victims. They are expected to survive. When McMullen woke from his surgery, he spontaneously admitted to killing his mother at a home at the 100 block of Campbell Avenue in Vallejo, part of the San Francisco Bay Area, prior to the hospital stabbing. Patrol officers conducted a welfare check on the home. When no one answered, cops forced their way inside, where they found McMullen's mother inside, deceased. The press release did not say how she passed away. Her name is being withheld until next of kin are notified. McMullen is facing murder and attempted murder charges. He will be taken to jail after he gets out of the hospital. Police have not publicly released a motive for his alleged crime spree. So, that just happened over the weekend. So, like I said, these are all pretty current. That just happened in California. So, Fantastic. Brady, hi, how are you? I'm well. Thank you for asking. All right, so this next one is about a child. Do you research crimes? Slinky, I will research them if it's a large one and I don't want to just plagiarize someone else's content. Um, if I do the research, I take several sources, mash them all together and make them my own, which is what I'm pretty sure every other podcaster / crime storyteller does. But crime has always been my thing, always. Okay, so this one does involve a child, unfortunately. The title reads, Infant Wedged Between Mattress and Couch Cushion Suffocates. Parents face murder charges. The parents of an 8-month-old girl in Georgia are accused of killing their daughter, who suffocated to death after allegedly becoming wedged between a couch cushion and mattress inside of a filthy home that was covered in animal feces and insects. Miguel, 24, and Kiara, 27, were taken into custody on Wednesday and charged with 1 count each of second-degree murder and second-degree child cruelty in the death of their daughter, Ellie. They were also charged with 1 count of possession of, guess what? Drug-related objects. According to a news release from the Columbus, Georgia Police Department on September 27th, they responded to a residence in the 4300 block of Rosemont Drive regarding a report of a deceased 8-month-old girl. Detectives with the department's Special Victims Unit executed a search warrant on the home, and they said they learned that the infant had been placed in an angled mattress on a love seat with no safety measures in place to prevent the infant from rolling off and becoming wedged between the mattress and the couch cushions. Following an investigation into the circumstances of Ellie's death, police on November 8th obtained warrants for the arrests of both parents. They were both taken into custody on November 13th. One of the responding officers testified that the conditions inside the home were deplorable. There were multiple animals inside the house that were unconfined. There were animal feces, and there were insects in every room of the house. There was half-eaten food that was decaying in every room. The mother, who was home at the time, had reportedly left the infant alone while she went outside to talk with a friend. The father was not at the home when his daughter passed away, but was reportedly charged because he knew about the unsafe conditions that authorities say led to Ellie's death. Both parents were well aware of the conditions in the household, and they were both aware of the sleeping arrangement for the child. Another investigator explained to the court that the victim rolled off of a bedroom mattress and became wedged between the side of the mattress and the couch cushion. However, Howard Turner, the couple's landlord, said the parents were never cruel to their child, and he believes Ellie's death was just a freak accident. They were very caring of the baby based on what I could tell, and it was just a freak accident, he told the news station. Following Friday's hearing, the case was bound over. Both parents currently remain in detention in jail where they are being held without bond. So that is that one. Yeah, kind of sad. Oh, Brady, that's awful. That is really, really not okay. This is why I don't like women, or men for that matter. Trust nobody, ever, for the most part. You have bugs in your pillowcase. Well, you might want to check the rest of your bed, because that's awful. I'm sorry, Brady. I'm sorry to hear that. And Brady, I haven't checked my email lately, so if you have emailed me there, I apologize. I don't have access to that email on my phone, so I only look at it through the computer, and half the time I forget that it's there because that channel is technically not active like this channel is. So yeah. All right. So this is a, hold on, let me switch this up. Let me move some things around so that way I don't talk children back to back. So the next one is, hold on, I got an ad in my way. All right, this one comes from another source of mine that I have found on the Google machine. Man arrested after human remains found in Texas house linked to mom and child missing since 2022. All right. A man has been arrested and charged with murder after human remains linked to a missing persons case were found at a home in Texas. It's like Florida and Texas. That's like all the cases. Michael Dean Davis Jr., 27, was arrested and charged in Laredo, Texas on November 12th in connection with the discovery of human remains found at a property in Buffalo, Texas on October 22nd. An investigation over an adult and child who were reported missing on June 19th led to the search being carried out at a home, according to the release. The adult and child were last seen by their family in July of 2022. Yeah, I think so, pan-fried. Well, and it's got a lot of drugs mixed in with it too. Oh, I already read that part. Sorry. On November 12th, Michael Dean Davis Jr. was successfully apprehended in Laredo for the charge of murder and was transferred to the Webb County Jail. You okay? You need some water?
I'm good.
Okay. The human remains were positively identified to be that of a 27-year-old woman named Mahogany Washington, who was the mother of Davis's 8-year-old son and the adult reported missing. The Laredo Police Department, the U.S. Marshals, and the Sheriff's Office were tipped off that Davis was living with the missing son at a residence. The boy was found unharmed at the time of Davis's arrest, and he was sent to Child Protective Services, according to the outlet. The investigation revealed that Davis was likely armed and was a possible threat to his son due to the suspect's violent tendencies and potential threat to law enforcement and the surrounding neighborhood. A plan of approach was created and executed on November 12th. Oh, she was real pretty. I mean, not that that should make a difference, but police uncovered several rifles, gas masks, and an armor suit inside the home where Davis and the boy were found. Davis received additional charges of endangerment of a child based on the poor condition of the home, according to the outlet. He is currently being held on a bond of $3 million. Per the release, the investigation is still ongoing. And that was the end of that story. Just always make the first move with some things, comes back after me. I'm sorry, Brady. I'm really sorry. Hi, Subi, how are you? What is going on with my light over there? It's like doing the womp womp thing. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy that for the past 2 years, this child was living with this man and no other family members reached out looking or trying to figure things out to help. So it's interesting when you think about caseloads and how a lot of these things or these DCS, CPS, all those things, I know they're overwhelmed and have a crap ton of caseloads, which is crazy to me. But that's a poor excuse to not know about what's going on with the children. I really, really, really struggle with that stuff. All right, this one. So that one didn't necessarily have to do with the child. I thought it did, but that was just based on what the title said. So I just had assumed. My apologies. Good thing the child was taken away. Unfortunate for his mother. All right, so this one definitely does have to do with the child, a young teen. And as we're talking about CPS, here we go. So a former DCF worker locked up daughter in garage and severely abused the teen before unaliving her. And I told you, Slinky, if you're still watching, deputies in Sebring, Florida, were called to a horrific crime scene on Friday that no amount of law enforcement experience could have ever prepared them for, according to police officials. Diane Mack, a 34-year-old former Florida Department of Children and Families employee who worked as a guardian aide, had phoned police to report the death of her 13-year-old adopted daughter after finding her laying unresponsive on a floor at their home in the Sun Lake of Sebring Golf and Recreation Community near early Friday at 12:19 a.m. What authorities discovered there, according to the Highlands County Sheriff, they will soon not forget. This is one of the most disturbing crime scenes I have encountered in more than 30 years of law enforcement, Blackman said Friday in a sheriff's office video announcing Mac's arrest on murder and child abuse charges. There are no words I can say that can truly convey the nightmare that this child's life must have been. Deputies allegedly found Mac's daughter dead inside her home, wearing nothing but a diaper and showing clear signs of abuse and neglect. Mack initially told investigators she found the girl on Thursday morning, but then changed her time of discovery to around 3 p.m. She was extremely emaciated, I can do this, and obviously malnutritioned. Blackman said that of Mac's daughter. Her body was covered in wounds. Hold on. Sorry, that little heater was going off. Her body was covered in wounds in all stages of healing, including open lacerations that were clearly recently suffered. Upon further investigation, deputies found evidence indicating that the girl who was homeschooled had been locked up in the garage before her death, according to the sheriff's office. We don't know yet how long she had been there, but it appears she was secured to the garage door and monitored from inside the home by a security camera that was mounted inside the garage. With her child laying dead on the floor, according to the police, she used pool chlorine to try and destroy evidence in the garage before calling 911. Hold on, that's not even gonna... That was stupid. I don't even want them timed out. They're totally removed. Just letting you know. All right. Okay, before calling 911. She also allegedly took the time to drive at least 4 other children who were living at the home with her to a residence before phoning police. Michael. Mack was arrested and charged with first-degree murder while engaged in aggravated child abuse, as well as aggravated child abuse, kidnapping, and destroying evidence. Parents have a duty to love our children and make sure no harm comes their way. To see a child treated this way is not only heartbreaking, it is infuriating. What makes it even more appalling is that the suspect is a former employee not only the Department of Children and Families, but also worked as a guardian. That's someone whose job it was to look after the welfare of children whose job it was to look after the welfare of children could treat their own child in this manner is simply beyond belief. She is being held without bonds in the Highland County Jail. So, another fantastic Mother of the Year. Gotta love that. How's everyone doing? Everyone holding up? I apologize for the ugly, ugly, ugly stories. I don't know what's going on with this light. Hold on, guys. It's doing a thing. So depressing. I know, Leah. I know. I know. It's not my intention, I promise. Okay. The next one. The sad thing is that these, the case that are known. Exactly. Pro, I like to, well, it's not that I like to say it, but because I'm seeing so many of these now that I'm kind of doing this more often, it's crazy to think that these are the people we stand in line at the grocery store with. These are the people we work with. These are the people we conversate with on the street. And you just have no idea. Do you need to go? Do you need to go? You want to go? Come on. But yeah, these are the people that, you know, we have no idea what goes on behind closed doors. Exactly. Exactly. I think you're right, Leah. That might be something I look into maybe the next time I do this, or maybe some funny cases, like a palate cleanser. But I was not prepared to do something like that this go around. So, but definitely something I should look into for sure. Do some cases that aren't so ugly. All right, so this one is U.S. Army veteran murdered after honking his horn following near collision at gas station. All right, cops in, can anybody take a guess? Did you say she was 13? Let me look real quick. Let me get back to this. Yes, she was 13. Cops in Florida have arrested a 27-year-old man for allegedly shooting a U.S. Army veteran to death after a dispute at a gas station last year. Kendrick Anderson is facing a second-degree murder charge for the November 2023 slaying of a 60-year-old Gregory Reed in the suburb of Orlando. Police announced Friday in a press release that detectives arrested Anderson after a year-long investigation. According to a probable cause arrest, did we do this one? Maybe this is a follow-up, because this is a Publix grocery store employee called 911 at around 8:30 p.m. on November 9th to report an accident involving a Ford SUV where someone died. Officers and paramedics responded to the scene and found that the driver, later identified as Reed, had been shot several times. First responders rushed him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Publix surveillance videos showed the SUV coming from the adjoining PB Circle K gas station before making an abrupt right turn and crashing into a parked vehicle. A witness at the gas station said he and his girlfriend were sitting in front of the gas station when he saw the SUV and a Mercedes enter the parking lot at about the same time. The driver of the Mercedes was trying to pull into a pump but nearly collided with Reed's SUV. In response, Reed honked his horn, the witnesses reportedly told police. According to the witness, Reed and the two people in the Mercedes were shouting, "What? Back and forth, allegedly sizing each other up. After the Mercedes parked at the pump, Reed went to the exit to leave the gas station. That's when the passenger of the Mercedes got out of the car, walked up to Reed's SUV, and allegedly fired 5 shots, striking Reed multiple times. The Mercedes then drove away. Reed was wearing a Domino's Pizza t-shirt at the time of his death, and his boss told detectives he had just gotten off his shift as a delivery driver prior to the murder. In the days following the shooting, police released surveillance photos of the Mercedes in question to the public. The vehicle's owners saw news coverage and contacted police. They say they rented the car to Anderson on October 27th for a 2-week period. Anderson's friends told detectives he would commonly let his buddy drive the vehicle while he was in the passenger seat. Street cameras confirmed this, and detectives also obtained a search warrant for Anderson's phone, which allegedly placed him at the area at the time of the murder. A further search of his phone showed he took a picture of a TV station line coverage from the murder scene and sent several text messages asking for prayers after Reed's family met with the media to plead for more information in the shooting. Cops arrested Anderson on November 4th, 2023, and took him to the Orange County Jail. However, because prosecutors did not move forward with an order for pre-trial detention, a judge gave him a $50,000 bond, which he has since posted. According to Reed's obituary, he served in the U.S. Army from 81 to 84 following his graduation from high school. He worked in the food industry at one point, and at one point opened his own restaurant. Greg was truly a beautiful soul. He was very caring and committed father, son, brother, uncle, and cousin. He always made time for his children and family and never missed an opportunity to spend time with all of us. And that's the end of that one. So they have rearrested him again, so that's nice. My favorite troll? Well, hello, other Mike. Wait, need to work delivering pizzas. I know, Mike. Why? I don't know why. Surviving a war to be taken out. Exactly, Pro Bono. Exactly. Isn't that amazing? Or, so we had in this state, there was a man in prison, and I could cover this one. There was a man in prison who was part of the AK gang in the prison. And the AK gang here in Idaho is Aryan Knights, which is a white supremacist type of gang in the prison. And he ended up getting one of his buddies and some random chick to help him get out of prison. And what ended up happening is the dude that was in prison, whether he actually got injured in prison, I'm not entirely sure. He is being hauled off to the hospital for emergency services here. And they get to the hospital, and the two getaway drivers, the other gang member who's out on the street, and the chick, end up intercepting him at the emergency room and opening fire on all the correctional officers there. The three of them get away. They decide to drive up north at northern Idaho. I don't know how far from here, but further up north than we are. And there was a older gentleman who had been to war and all the things, and they wanted his vehicle. So they shot him. And it was, I think it was during the summertime. And it's sad to think that here's a man who spent all of his years working really, really hard to just have a little piece of heaven up in the mountains of Idaho. And these two pricks decided that they wanted what he had. And I'm sure he would have given it to them regardless. I think the guy was actually out walking his dog early in the morning. And they ended up killing him and killing someone else. And then the idiots drove back down to southern Idaho where they got caught. So anyhow, it's sad when you've done that much in your life and you're just trying to relax and just enjoy, and you get young, dumb people who are too busy to not think about that. But anyhow. All right, so the next one is, I still got these damn snow boots on. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, Florida, guys. Intent to kill. Florida man indicted for kidnapping, murdering estranged wife who disappeared in Spain and has never been heard from again. All right. A federal grand jury has indicted a Florida man who allegedly went to Spain to kidnap and murder his estranged wife in an elaborate scheme that included driving across Europe and spray painting camera lenses. David had already been charged in the U.S. District Court's Southern District of Florida in the disappearance of 40-year-old Ana Maria, who has not been seen since February in Madrid. But a grand jury on Wednesday filed a superseding indictment charging him with kidnapping, resulting in death, foreign domestic violence resulting in death, and foreign murder of a United States national. If convicted of the kidnapping resulting in death, he could face the death penalty. Authorities have yet to find Anna's body, who believe her husband traveled from Miami to Madrid. Wayne, have you read this story? With the intent to kill her, the indictment said. Cops say he murdered her and disposed of her body in a yet-to-be-identified location. The search for her body remains ongoing, and authorities in recent months have focused their efforts to a heavily wooded area in northern Italy. While the alleged crimes occurred in Spain, the statute allows the DOJ to prosecute the case if a U.S. national kills another U.S. national in a foreign country. According to the DOJ, the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, or Assistant Attorney General must provide written approval for the case to proceed as charged. The prosecution can only take place after the AG consults with the Secretary of State and the suspect is no longer present in the country in question, and that country lacks the ability to lawfully secure the person's return. Agents arrested David, a Yugoslavian-born U.S. citizen, as he arrived at the Miami International Airport on May 4th. Anna is a U.S. citizen from Colombia. The FBI described in a criminal complaint how the couple were going through a contentious divorce. Anna flew from Miami to Madrid on December 26th. Her family and friends lost contact with her after February 2nd. She and her friends had a trip planned to Barcelona, but she never showed up. All of her non-automatic bank transactions stopped following that date. She was also charged a fee on February 10th for missing a reservation at a Madrid restaurant, according to the FBI. Friends and family told federal agents that Anna and her husband were going through a contentious divorce because he did not want to split marital assets with her. The victim was very fearful of her husband because she believed he was monitoring her whereabouts. David has worked with authorities. He has talked to detectives in Spain on a number of occasions. Is my chat here? Is everyone okay? Sorry. He has provided credit card information. He obtained a lawyer in Spain to sign documents that might help the Spanish authorities to go into the apartment that his wife had rented. According to Spanish authorities, surveillance cameras captured Anna entering her apartment in Madrid around 2:20 p.m. on February 2nd. It's the last time she was seen alive. The complaint says at about 9:30 p.m. the same day, a man wearing a helmet, nameless, entered the apartment building after some people were walking out. The man holding a can of spray paint walks down a set of stairs and uses the spray paint to cover the lens. The paint didn't completely cover the lens and still showed a man putting a piece of duct tape over the door lock to prevent it from closing. Notably, the male who looks directly at the camera has physical characteristics that resemble those of David. The man is then seen leaving the apartment at about 10:30, apparently holding a suitcase. Spanish authorities completed a welfare check on February 4th for Anna, but did not find her. Her cell phone, laptop, and chargers were missing. Cops also noted the spray paint brand and tracked the purchase to a store in Madrid. Surveillance camera footage from the store showed a man who appeared to be David buying the paint and 2 rolls of duct tape. FBI agents also spoke with a Colombian woman who previously met David on a dating app. She told agents that on February 3rd, the day after his wife went missing, he allegedly asked her to translate a message from English into perfect Colombian. He claimed he had a friend from Serbia who he was writing a script about a Colombian character and wanted it to sound authentic. I met some wonderful people. I met someone wonderful, the translated message reportedly said. He has a summer house with about 2 hours from Madrid. We are going there now and I will spend a few days there. Signal is spotty. I'll call you when I get back. Other messages allegedly said, yesterday after therapy, I needed a walk and he approached me on the street. And amazing connection like I never had before. Anna's best friend previously said those messages didn't make sense. She doesn't do things like this. I was worried. It was worded very differently than how she writes. David said, she said, wouldn't meet a man in the street and say that she's going to go away for a few days like that. That's definitely not my friend. She responded immediately to the bizarre messages. I said, what's happening? What do you mean? I got worried and I said, please share your location. This does not sound safe. My messages didn't go through. I got concerned immediately. And then when I heard nothing back from her first thing Sunday morning, I contacted the police in Madrid. Her brother said he received a similar odd text from his sister. It was in Spanish, which Anna speaks fluently, having been born in Colombia, but according to him, something was off. He stated it wasn't like his sister to do something like this, plus the text in Spanish appeared to be translated from English to Spanish via Google Translator. And the message made no sense whatsoever and was definitely not written by his sister, who is fluent in both English and Spanish. They're very concerned something bad happened to Anna. Juan stated that Anna and David are going through a nasty divorce and there is a substantial amount of money on the line to be split up between the two, and David is not happy about it. Juan advised that Anna has a longtime friend in Spain, so she traveled there 3 months ago to clear her head. According to the FBI, the Colombian woman who translated the message for David told her mother about her new love interest. She Googled him and saw news stories that said he was a suspect in his wife's disappearance. Agents were also able to track down the suspect's movements starting on January 27th when he flew out of Miami to Turkey before traveling to Serbia. He allegedly left Serbia on January 30th and returned on February 5th. Agents noted it takes around 26 hours to drive the 1,600 miles to Madrid. They also learned that David rented a vehicle between January 29th and March 15th. Spanish authorities also discovered that someone had reported their license plates were stolen. The plates were allegedly seen on the street outside the victim's apartment. The plates also reportedly turned up at 2 toll booths outside of Madrid, but the driver can't be seen because of the tinted windows. Agents spoke with the employee of the alleged kidnapper's business. He told agents that David forced her to pose as his missing wife over the phone to cancel insurance policies. Hello. And to open a new bank account, the FBI said. In one of the calls, children could be heard in the background. And as agents noted, Anna does not have kids. David allegedly told the employee that his calls had been made and people were paid. David's father stated, I cannot call with my voice because I sound, she said she cannot call with my voice because never mind, because he sounds like a guy. He remains in jail without bond. So there's that. Hello, hi. Hello, Lois, how are you? Lois, what is that? It's Lewis. Where did all the people go? I don't know. Everyone's listening because that was a long story. Hi, Tiff, how are you? Where did all the people go? I know it got really quiet. I was like, well, what happened? Is everybody there? Okay. Waiting for pizza. Nice. I'm supposed to make tacos tonight. It's amazing. I know, Wayne. You know the funniest part? Well, it's not funny, but there's cameras everywhere, and especially in Europe. Especially in Europe. They have CCTV everywhere in Europe. I know in the States we're kind of behind on a lot of things, but there's like cameras on every street corner. There are cameras as you're walking down this. I mean, there's cameras everywhere over there. So to think that you're going to get away with that, plus phones and transactions on your credit cards and bank accounts, and it's to get away with a perfect murder, I think is going to take a lot if you're smart, which I don't know anything about that. But if you were going to be smart, know that there are too many cameras. 99, I appreciate you. All right. A 24-year-old woman was found unalived in the trunk of a car. Now police believe her husband fled the country. Authorities in England are looking for a man whom they believe fled the country after allegedly murdering his 24-year-old wife and leaving her body in the trunk of a car. In the early hours of Thursday, November 4th, police discovered the body of Harshita Brella in the trunk of a car in the area of London, the department said in a Facebook news release. The discovery came a day after police received a call about the woman's welfare. Authorities initially launched a missing person investigation after arriving at Briella's home in Corby and not hearing from her. After Brella's body was found, an autopsy conducted established that she had been murdered. Hello, Red. Police said they suspect Brella's husband of killing her earlier in the month before transporting her body to London by car, according to the update. Police also believe that her husband, whom they have shared a photo of on social media, has fled the country. Now more than 60 detectives are working on the case, going house to house using, guess what, Wayne? CCTV footage and conducting property searches in an effort to piece together exactly what happened. I urge anyone listening to or reading this statement that if you saw anything suspicious in the past week or have any information, no matter how small, please contact us. We would always rather receive well-meaning information that turns out to be nothing as opposed to receiving nothing at all. Per the police department, local neighborhood officers will continue to patrol the area in Corby in the coming days for reassurance, as anyone with any concerns is welcome to approach one of these officers who will be happy to help. Detectives from the police department are working around the clock to establish the circumstances behind her death, including the exact location and time frame in which it took place. Officers from the Metropolitan Police are also assisting in the investigation. In a video shared on Facebook on November 17th, police chief described the circumstances surrounding Brella's murder as absolutely tragic. Those with information are encouraged to contact police via phone, through an online public portal, or by calling Crime Stoppers. So, they think the man has fled the country. Maybe he's in America, and I sure hope not, but that would stink. We are at 54 minutes, friends. I do have a really big one, but I'm not entirely sure if you guys want me to read that one, because that one, it's a big one. It's a long one. Maybe some of you have heard it. One of the viewers have definitely asked me to look at it, so I will. But while you think about that, I've got another small one that I will definitely read. So this one title reads, "She said she shot him all over." Guess where we're at, friends? If we're not in Florida, where are we? Texas woman charged with murder after gunning down man she claims kidnapped her. Authorities in Texas have indicted a woman on murder charges for allegedly gunning down a man she says tried drugging and kidnapping her earlier this year near a winery, according to police. She's advising that she just shot somebody. She's been drugged and she's been kidnapped as well. A 911 operator reported being told by a winery manager who encountered suspect Amy after the March 15th slaying. She said she shot him all over. Amy, a Montgomery resident, Wayne Montgomery, who was 45 years old at the time, told police she had recently met 49-year-old victim Lance Reed. A Houston native, Wayne. Good job. And the two of them were getting ready to go on a weekend trip together when he allegedly attacked her in a car they were driving in Fredericksburg. On Friday, March 15th at approximately 12:42 p.m., the county sheriff's office and the Stonewall Volunteer Fire Department responded to a 911 call where a woman said she was kidnapped and drugged and that she had shot someone. Her whereabouts were briefly unknown until it was determined to be near a winery east of U.S. Highway 290. The woman was able to describe a vehicle in which she was associated and the weapon that was used. Deputies said they found Reed dead in the front seat of the car, with Amy standing outside and nearby. She had allegedly retreated to the winery and asked the manager to call police after the shooting. It's unclear whether the weapon that was used belonged to her or to him. We don't really know what happened other than what she's explaining to us. Now investigators say it was Amy who allegedly had the deadly intentions. She was charged with murder on October 8th and released on October 15th via a $100,000 bond, according to jail records. She's due to make a court appearance on January 9th. I just want to know, if you are ever charged with murder, I don't understand why they even are allowed to be bonded out. I'm confused. Wouldn't we want to keep them incarcerated until we decide differently? And I'm assuming it's because, well, I don't want to say, if she's being charged with murder, right, then there's must be enough evidence to be able to even make that charge to begin with. But I don't understand why you can be charged with something that heinous and you get out. I understand the innocent until proven guilty, but what happens, right? Because we've seen this happen, sex offenders and whatnot who do the crime again, and then there's an outrage from the public on if they were incarcerated, then these things wouldn't have happened. Anyway, maybe because of the self-defense. Wayne, you're probably right. And I'm sure it depends on the state too, because it's just crazy to me that if you have enough as evidence against you that they wouldn't just keep you until, I mean, I understand trials and all that, it takes a long time, but I don't know, maybe I'd do things differently. And no one would go to jail over murder because y'all ain't gonna be doing it, or you're gonna be smart and not get caught. Just saying. Otherwise, you're gonna sit there until we figure it out. That's how I see it. Yeah, you're right, Wayne. You're right. It's crazy to me. Okay, so we have the bigger case that I was going to cover. Hold, please. And like I said, if you're wanting to do that one, which I think you guys are, I'm guessing it's going to take me at least 20 minutes. At least to to read through this. 20 minutes to a half an hour. So if you're here, I love you. If you have to go, I appreciate you for being here. And if you're new, well, welcome in. Thank you. So this one was recommended by one of the Scottish viewers, and pan fried. Yeah, you are right. You are right. You are right. Your phone is dying. Oh, sad days, Bobby. Well, I appreciate you for being here as long as you have. Maybe just lose a finger. I know. Thank you, Bobby. You are appreciated. All right, so this is a bigger case. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, but this is out of Scotland, which I'm pretty sure that's not the accent, but we're going to pretend that it is. And we are going to talk about Dennis Nilsen. All right. So Dennis Nilsen was best known as the Scottish murderer of many young men in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Who was Dennis Nilsen? Dennis Nilsen was a serial killer who was born in Fraserburgh, Scotland. Though Nilsen recognized his homosexual desires, he was never comfortable with them and began acting on them through murder and dismemberment. Freaking Dennis, man. Nilsen's first victim was in 1978. He went on to kill, according to his confession, 12 young men and dissect their bodies. When police finally arrested him in 1983, it quickly became apparent that had they linked a series of reported incidents from lucky escapees over the previous 5 years, they might have halted his ghoulish killing spree considerably sooner. Sassy, told you. Not everyone has heard of Dennis. His earlier life. Nilsen was born on November 23rd. Oh, dude's birthday is coming up. 1945 in Scotland. His parents' marriage was an unhappy one, and as a result, Nilsen, his mother and siblings lived with his maternal grandfather, whom Nilsen adored. Nilsen claimed that his beloved grandfather's unexpected death when he was just 6 years old and the traumatizing viewing of his corpse at a funeral led to his later behavioral changes. Nice. Creator, that's crazy. His mother went on to remarry and have 4 more children, leaving Nilsen a withdrawn and lonely child. Aware of his homosexual attractions, he claimed no sexual encounters as an adolescent, and at 16 he enlisted in the army. He became a cook, serving as a butcher in the Army Catering Corps, learning the skills that served him so well during his 5-year killing spree. I know, Sassy, it is. Upon leaving the Army in 1972, he took up police training, where he discovered a fascination with morgue visits and autopsied bodies. Despite the obvious advantages that police work gave to develop his morbid tastes, he resigned and went on to become a recruitment interviewer. Nilsen's first official brush with the police came in 1973. David Painter, a young man whom Nilsen had met through his work, claimed that Nilsen had taken pictures of him while he was asleep. Painter was also incensed that he required hospitalization as a result of their confrontation. Nilsen was brought in for questioning about the incident, but was subsequently released without charge. In 1975, he took up cohabitation with David in a garden apartment situated at 195 Melrose Avenue in North London. Thank you, Russ. I appreciate you, and it's good to see you here. Although David denied that they had any homosexual relationship. This lasted 2 years. And when David left, Nilsen's life began on a downward spiral into alcohol and loneliness, which culminated in his first murder 18 months later. Nilsen became increasingly disturbed by his sexual encounters, which only seemed to reinforce his loneliness when they were over. He met his first young victim in a pub on December 29th, 1978, and invited him home, as he had on previous occasions. Sorry, this is what happens when you look at your phone when you shouldn't be. Previous occasions. The next morning, overcome by a desire to prevent the young man from leaving, he strangled him with a tie before drowning him in a bucket of water. Taking the corpse to his bathroom to wash it, he then placed it back in his bed, later remarking that he found the corpse beautiful. Ugh. He attempted to have sex, unsuccessfully, then spent the night sleeping next to the dead man. He finally hid the corpse under his floorboards for 7 months before removing it and burning the decaying remains in his back garden. So does this sound like somebody you've heard before in the Americas? Nilsen had another close call with police in October 1979, when a young student accused Nilsen of trying to strangle him during a bondage play session. Despite the student's claims, no charges were pressed against Nilsen. Nilsen encountered his second victim, Canadian tourist Kenneth, at a pub on December 3rd, 1979. Following a day of sightseeing and drinking, which ended at Nilsen's apartment, Nilsen again succumbed to his fears of abandonment and strangled Kenneth to death with an electrical cable. He cleaned up the corpse as he did before and shared the bed with it overnight. Melissa sounds like Dahmer. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Just saying. Took photos, engaged in sex, and finally deposited the corpse under the floorboards, removing it frequently and engaging in conversation as if Kenneth were still alive. Oh, I know, Cole. Sheesh. His third victim, some 5 months later, was Martin Duffy, a homeless 16-year-old who he invited to spend the night on May 13th, 1980. As his first victim, Nilsen strangled, then drowned him, before bringing him back to bed and doing the deed all over the teenager's corpse. Duffy was kept in a wardrobe, which y'all know that's closet, right? For 2 weeks before joining Kenneth under the floorboards. His next victim was prostitute Billy Sutherland, 27, who had the misfortune of following Nilsen home one night. He too was strangled. Another one of his victims, 24-year-old Malcolm Barlow, was an orphan with learning disabilities, who was soon dispatched by strangulation. By 1981, Nilsen had killed 12 men in the apartment, of whom only 4 could be identified. Given his eye for preying on homeless and the unemployed in a large city, this is probably less surprising than it might be in a smaller community. Nilsen claimed he went into a killing trance and on 7 occasions occasionally freed the men rather than complete the act because he was unable to snap out of it. The majority of his victims were not so lucky. By the time Barlow was killed, Nilsen was forced to stuff him under the kitchen sink. He was rapidly running out of storage space, with half a dozen bodies hidden around the apartment. He was forced to spray his rooms twice a day to be rid of flies where they were hatching from the decomposing bodies. When neighbors complained about the smell, he convinced them they stemmed from structural problems within the building. To get rid of the corpses, he would remove his clothing. He would remove his clothing and dismember them on the stone kitchen floor with a large kitchen knife, sometimes also boiling the skulls to remove the flesh, also placing organs in plastic bags for disposal. He buried limbs in the garden and in the shed. He stuffed torsos into suitcases until he could burn the remains in a bonfire at the end of his garden. On occasions, he would burn fires all day without raising any suspicion from neighbors. He generally crushed the bones once the fire had consumed the flesh, and police found thousands of bone fragments in the garden during later forensic examinations. In 1982, in a desperate attempt to stifle his homicidal behavior, Nilsen moved into a top floor apartment at 23 Cranley Gardens, also in North London, which had no garden and no convenient floorboards. Still unable to quell his impulses, a further 3 victims were killed in his apartment between his arrival and February 1983. These victims were identified as John Lowlett, Archibald Graham, Allen, and Stephen Sinclair, and presented Nilsen with much greater disposal challenges given the apartment's lack of direct access to outdoor space. He overcame these obstacles by boiling the heads, feet, and hands and dissecting the bodies into small pieces that could be flushed down the toilet and disposed of in plastic bags. There were 5 other tenants at Cranley Gardens, none of whom knew Nilsen very well, and in early February 1983, one of them called out drain specialist Dino Rod to investigate a drain blockage. In the presence of the tenants, including Nilsen, the technician discovered rotting human remains when he descended via the outdoor manhole, and it was decided that a full inspection would be conducted the next day, after which the police would be called in to investigate. Nilsen, increasingly aware of the prospect of capture, tried to cover his tracks by removing the human tissue from the drains that night, but was spotted by the downstairs tenant, who became suspicious of his actions. It was reported that on the morning of February 9th, 1983, he told a work colleague, "If I'm not in tomorrow, I'll either be ill, dead, or in jail." Nilsen was met on the evening of February 9th by Detective Chief Inspector J, who informed him that they wished to question him in relation to the human remains that had been discovered in the drains. Upon entering the apartment, J noticed the foul odor and asked Nilsen what that was, at which point he calmly confessed that what they were looking for was stored in bags around the apartment, which included 2 dismembered heads and other larger body parts. Upon his arrest, he immediately provided exhaustive details about his killing spree, admitting to killing 15 young men, despite receiving a legal caution. He also admitted to the attempted murder of 7 others, although he could name only 4 of them. At no point did he show any remorse and appeared eager to assist the police with amassing evidence against him, even taking them to his old address to point out specific disposal details. After the confession, Nilsen was held at Brixton prison pending trial. While he was there, he wrote over 50 notebooks of his memories to assist the prosecution, and also drew what he referred to as sad sketches, which detailed his treatment of some of his victims. He knew what was going to happen with his fate, and without remorse, and then showing concern about public attitudes towards him, he fired his legal counsel, then rehired him, and fired him once more shortly before going to trial. His trial commenced on October 24th, 1983. Nilsen was charged with 6 counts of murder and 2 charges of attempted murder. He pleaded not guilty to all charges, citing diminished responsibility due to mental defect. The prosecution relied primarily on the extensive interview notes that resulted from his arrest, which took over 4 hours to read verbatim to the jury, as well as the testimony of 3 of the victims, Paul Nobbs, Douglas Stewart, and Carl Stoddard, who had managed to escape, and all of whom he attempted to strangle. Despite attempts by Nilsen's defense to undermine the testimony of these victims by introducing evidence of their sexual encounters with Nilsen, their harrowing accounts inflicted serious damage on the defense case. Physical evidence included photographs of the murder scene, as well as the chopping board used to dissect the victims, and the cooking pot used to boil the skulls, feet, and hands, which is now on display at the Black Museum at Scotland Yard. The defense case relied primarily on the testimonies of 2 psychiatrists. They described Nilsen's troubled childhood, inability to express feelings, and the resulting separation of mental function from physical behavior, which affected his own sense of identity and implied an impaired responsibility on the part of Nilsen. Under intense cross-examination by the prosecutor, however, the psychiatrist was forced to retract his judgment about diminished responsibility. The second psychiatrist, Galway, diagnosed Nilsen as suffering from a false self syndrome characterized by outbreaks of schizoid disturbances, which made him incapable of premeditation. But most of his testimony was extremely technical, even giving the judge cause to question Galloway's complex diagnosis. The prosecution called Dr. Paul Bowen as rebuttal psychiatrist who had spent considerable amount of time with Nilsen, finding no evidence for much of the testimony put forth by the defense psychiatrist. He stated that Nilsen was manipulative with some signs of mental abnormality, I can speak, but nevertheless still responsible for his actions. During the summing up, the judge dispensed with the majority of the psychiatric jargon that had perplexed the jury by instructing them that a mind can be evil without being abnormal. The jury retired on November 3rd, 1983, but were unable to reach a unanimous verdict. The following day, the judge agreed to accept a majority verdict, and at 4:25 p.m., they delivered a verdict of guilty on all 6 counts of murder. The judge sentenced Dennis Nilsen to life in prison without eligibility for parole for at least 25 years. Nilsen died in prison in 2018. Thank you, folks. Thank you. I love you all. That is that. That is Dennis Nilsen and the crazy man who is just like Dahmer, doing weird things. And to be quite honest with you, I forgot about this one. I did remember about the plumber and coming to check a clogged drain, but I didn't realize the 2 correlated together. How old was that guy when he got caught? Hold please. 45. Where's my calculator? Let's see. Where's my calculator? Okay. 1945. He was arrested in hold please. If you know it, put your hand down. Raise your hand. Hold on. I actually read that pretty quick. I'm pretty proud of myself. 38. 38. I have not, Big L. But I'm always up for suggestions, and I'm always up for constructive criticism. Please and thank you. Ian Brady. I am happy to look it up because here in the States, as you know, we hear a lot of the famous ones. And I think because we are here in America, we tend to forget about things that happen all around the world. So, it's another Scottish killer. Horse murders. And I very well could have heard of it. I'm not just putting the two names together, but thank you. I will absolutely look into that. I agree, JFK. And the fact that he said for sure there were 12 and there could potentially be 7 more and he could only name 4 of them, but he was only charged with 6 is insane to me. Fools is 38, so is my daughter. Wayne, that's when he was arrested. It doesn't mean that's when the crime started. Calm down. I'm cute when I'm serious. I'm trying to be serious. He was born in 1945 and he died in 2018. What does that make him? 112? I'm kidding. 1945. 73. That man got to live to be 73 years old. That's ridiculous. So, that, my loves, is the story of Dennis Nilsen out of Scotland, who was recommended by one of you beautiful people in the chat. Okay. So if you have suggestions, I'd love to hear them here. I also, on my page, I have an email address. It's at Chaos and Criminals, because that was originally supposed to be the crime channel, but here we are doing it here. And that's just simply because I have more of a following here. And you all know me as Miss Rainey. So until I make that side maybe more of a podcast professional type thing, where it's kind of got that rolling credential thing that we tried over there. For now, I think I will do this, or I'll do my little shorts that maybe you've seen, but yep, still working on what I'm doing over here because I don't know. Thank you, Red. I appreciate it. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Subi. Thank you all. Have you heard of Ashley Bush? I have not. Who's Ashley Bush? Enjoyed it. Yay! Wonderful. Another successful live. So, anyhow, it's 6 o'clock at my time. I'm thinking about going to make some either soup or tacos. Maybe if Red, are you home? If Red is here, and if he hasn't eaten, I can get a census between the two guys and they can let me know what I should make, because I'm going to make one of the two. So, anyhow, yeah. What? Oh, well, I'm going to tell you right now that Fools doesn't have a say because I can hear him snoring in the living room. And if any of you have heard him snore, then you know that he ain't waking up for nothing. So, soup and tacos. Melissa, it is cheddar broccoli soup, and I don't think that would go that well with tacos. So, Rainy is so real. Like, real. I'm a real person. Yay! Carolyn, I appreciate you. Thank you. Enjoyed my supper. Thank you, everyone. Ed Gein. Yeah, Ed Gein. Ed Gein. That's a big one. And like I said, I think I'd like to venture out and try other countries, because I don't hear a lot of those. Okay, guys, I love you. You all are amazing. You're wonderful. I appreciate you listening to my voice and looking at this face while I talk about the naughty people of the world. So, Timberlake Road. And that's another thing. Scary stories. I'm going to let Fools stick with the cryptid thing. But scary stories, spooky stories, real spooky stories. Not Bloody Mary stuff. I'm talking spookities. You're my favorite channel. Well, thank you, Nicholas. I'm glad I'm somebody's channel, because 2 short months ago, I was nobody. Which, by the way, guys, I have to tell you, I'm going to quickly tell you this. My first real live was September 29th. September. Rick I'm upset. Did you just get here, Rick? I'm like, I am upset. September 29th was my very first live. And I'm fairly certain I will find out this week if we have met goal, which is pretty freaking amazing since it is less than 2 months. So I have to thank all of you for that. And I know Fools was a big part of that and sending a lot of you my way. And I know I have gained my own people on my own with this pretty face and my obnoxious laughter. But just thank you. Thank you for that, because that's really cool. And I don't know what I'm doing, because I don't know how, this is weird. This is strange. This is different. So, Fools in those damn carpet cutouts. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see where this brings. My goal is I want an all expense paid trip to Crime Con. I want the invite. That's all. That's all I want out of all of this, is to go to Crime Con. So thank you, Nicholas. Anyway, I love you all. You all are amazing. I hope you all have a good night. And maybe I'll throw out another short. So we'll figure it out. But anyway, I love you. Go to bed. Go to sleep. Watch some TV. Sing a song. Go watch some other crazy person on live. I don't know. But anyway, I will talk to you all later. Okay, I love you. Bye.